All right, we are back, huh? Back at Vertically Challenged. Today is the only day that I'm ever going to make that joke. So, my bad. Couldn't help myself. Moving forward. Anywho, had some repairs to do so that I didn't die and catch any cracks. The winter really messes the park up. Creates little cracks. Pops up patches that you did before. Causes all kinds of problems. I did a lot last year, and a lot didn't last. Kind of learned how to make a better mix, so that was kind of nice. A lot of my earlier patches kind of didn't work. They didn't stick. I did them wrong, and the weather just popped them out. So it's kind of been fun to learn a better way to do all this stuff. Have it part of the adventure that I have to fix it, and nothing's perfect. Kind of learning that that's the biggest lesson about all this is everything's temporary, and you got to just work with what's going on while you got it. There may be a crack tomorrow, it may be fixed today. Who knows? So, speaking of extra work, showed up to a puddle. So, on top of a bunch of rocks that were in there, I guess they cut the grass or something. Had to sweep all of that out. I actually cleaned it the other day after I made my giant concrete mess, and there was still a bunch of junk. So, that's always fun, having to do that before skating. Now, I'm not doing anything special or being some kind of saint or whatever by fixing stuff or sweeping or whatever. But a little public service announcement. If you show up to your local park and it's clean and it's fixed and it's all skatable and everything you can think of, just remember, somebody did that. Somebody went in with a broom and swept the rocks out of the way. Somebody picked up the sticks. Somebody took the gummy bears out of the deep end. It wasn't the person spray painting. It wasn't the person with the gummy bears. The reason you're not hitting a rock is because somebody else took the time to clean the park so that it would be clean for everybody else. Just so you know. Rant over. So I actually count that 20 minutes that it takes to sweep the place and do all my junk as stretching and warming up. So from there, it's kind of straight from the broom to the pads. And here we go. My favorite angle craps out. So the goal of the day was really to just kind of get comfortable, get some speed, start rolling around, get loosey-goosey legs. Really try to hit the coping a bunch. So what I was aiming for by the end of the day was get a good backside Carve grind and frontside Carve grind in the same line. And feel like a little pool dog, get my groove on and all that kind of stuff. Touching the coping has been a really big deal for me. Kind of not doing anything in vert if you're not at or above the coping. And it feels so different than a mini ramp. Rocked fakies kind of funny for such a standard trick on mini ramp. This one has become super terrifying for me. I would rather do a blunt fakie on any size transition you have that doesn't have vert on it than do a rock to fakie on anything with vert. I hung up once and it's freaking me out. I keep trying to do it so I don't get too afraid of them. So trying to get comfortable with like going up to the coping and just touching it and realizing that like I can even just jump out anytime I want and I'm really not falling to the bottom. It's kind of scary, making it out to be way bigger of a deal than it should be sometimes. And with that is fixing cracks and the real challenge of the bowls that I had never even thought about before I skated it, that you have to figure out how to carve around the thing and actually get the speed and the approach before you can even get to trying your trick. It's so different than just a half pipe. I think I like it more. I wasn't sure I was going to. I really just wanted to be in like an 80s vert dog, but like I really like it. But it's totally messing with my brain that I have to do hoppy hops over little humps and carve around walls and do loop-de-loops to even get to a stupid basic grind. It's kind of exhausting, but it's also cool. So really the first problem was fixing all the cracks that happened to be everywhere that I wanted to be, and they were all the size of my wheels, so I couldn't carve right. It was comedically scary, but the first thing was to go and fix as much as I could, kind of prioritize the stuff where I was skating, kind of plan on fixing more stuff as I kind of expand, but making everything smooth so that I could pump and not die at the bottom of a transition in some giant chasm. The second major problem I've been dealing with is setup issues and specifically trying to figure out wheels and how that relates to speed and control. First time at the park, I had super soft Filmer wheels and they felt great, but that wasn't right for actually trying to skate there. You saw how my arm looked. Second time I went, I had the Street Tech Formula 103s. So I've been skating a different park, and those little things felt like I was ice skating on the 20-year-old spray painted concrete. So that didn't last long. Decided I would order something in between. Try the X97s. The Bones X formula is the best. Bones wheels are the best, and the X formula stuff is super duper the best. So if you haven't tried any of that, try some of it. Not sponsored, just 40 years on a skateboard. Can't argue with the best. So I decided to get a set of 55s instead of my normal 52, and wound up loving them so much that I got a set of 52s and started skating them at the end of last fall. I'm kind of stupid about my board, and I felt like 55s were huge and I was insecure, so I got obsessed about the visual and went down to a wheel size that made me feel good for no reason other than I'm kind of dumb. Well, 3 millimeters less sucked a ton of speed and stability out of my board, especially in a larger transition situation. So when I got home, I put back the 55s on, and we'll see what happens next time. But I guess I'm just kind of having to realize if you want to be a transition skater, I have to be willing to change my street skater board. And it's really, really hard to change. And I'm super crazy, so that's a combination. Finished out the day trying to get my line, kind of knowing that I needed to go home and change my wheels, so that took a little bit of pressure off, and just kind of gave it a hard couple of tries. I don't know what spooked me on this little attempt at a frontside grind, but I got super scared, jumped off, straight down to my knees. That hurts. Wound up getting my remedial little line and get way too happy. Making contact with the coping feels cool, especially if you do it a couple of times in a row, even if it's stupid and little. You realize you're doing something kind of dangerous. It's kind of like bombing a hill. Like you don't have to do very much, and the risk is super high. You feel it. So as I got my line, another couple showed up, so I picked up my garbage to not be that dude that's in the way. Try to get out and skate as early as I can to be able to put out cameras and not be that asshole that's in the way, even though I'm kind of actually being that asshole who's in the way. But I'm smart enough to show up early and not be the YouTube dude in front of everybody. Try to be self-conscious about it. Before we left, I wanted to try to get a little arrow over the hip and see what happened. Kind of play around. I wanted to do this a couple of times, but I'm always tired by this time. So it's kind of fun to whip around, find the right line. Took a little bit of thinking and work. Kind of got slung out to the wrong direction a couple of times. I didn't get it, but it was definitely fun to fly. By the end, my knees really, really hurt, but I'm excited to try again. Kind of fucked up my board, but I'm really stoked about trying to get airborne.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck, it's so close. Damn it. Damn it. Ooh.
And last of all, a sincere thank you to everybody who watched and subscribed and commented and did all the stuff to talk back and watch the last episode. That's really, really cool. And I appreciate everybody engaging at all and talk it up. I'll talk it back and let's have a good time. Thanks, guys. And girls, if there's girls. I don't mean to be anything like that. Peace.